They called up and stuff, and she said, your daddy have his medication, and I said I hadn't been. That was another thing. I stopped taking medication because I got paranoid, thinking my medication was poison, and so so that didn't help me because then I went on all out manic episode and everything because I didn't have nothing to kind of put me in check and have any medication in me and stuff. But I felt that I still was okay without the medication. Mm-hmm. I found out that I wasn't because when I got back, that's when I told you I said I had the episode when I just felt like I just went to go get a chicken fajita about 3 a.m. in the morning, but not putting no clothes on. So it didn't bother me doing it and everything. So I walked down there. Somebody talking about at what point did you think something was crazy about it? I said I didn't. That's why I walked down with the BB gun and everything, and no clothes on. I didn't even think about none of that.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you left your house butt naked.
Yeah.
And you walked to the store.
Yeah.
To get a chicken fajita.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live today from the studios of TLC, Talk, Love, and Communication. I believe that all problems, circumstances, situations can be resolved through the proper channels of love and communication. Today we welcome my special guest, Mr. Curtis the Prophet Jones. He's going to give us some wisdom, knowledge, and input into bipolar depression disorder. We only got one life to live, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a whole lot easier with love and communication. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give my guests a special round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And the guys are too kind. Yeah. No, be seated. Okay, you can be seated now.
Okay, Mr. Curtis, you want to tell my audience a little bit about yourself, sir?
Well, my name is Curtis Jones. They call me the Prophet. I have an street outreach ministry called The Streets Are Talking Outreach Ministries. Mm-hmm. And came up with the Streets Are Talking when I know when it came from Jesus was talking to the disciples one day, and he was talking to them and asking them, who do men say that I am? As if he just opening a question like, what they're talking about in the streets about me.
Okay.
And so he went around and asked them, and one said this, one said that. But then Peter said, hey, thou art the Christ, Son of the living God. He knowing that, but he said, flesh and blood ain't revealed this to you. Nobody but my Father revealed that to you. But as I backtrack on that, when Jesus asked them the question about who they say I am, I took it as like what the streets talking about. What's going on in the streets and what are they saying about me?
Okay, and that's a very relevant question today. Mm-hmm. So you tell me, what are the streets talking about, Mr. Jones?
Well, a little bit of something from what me. I have an outreach and we were feeding weekly and stuff. We had some things came up that we had to change, but we were feeding weekly every Thursday. We were having like hot lunch meals. I call them hot meals, but then we had food, clothing, hygiene, just pretty much anything a person would need if they were outside in the streets.
And that's so important because, right here in Marion County, we have, I don't think people understand the problem that we have with homelessness.
That's huge.
In our county. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's a great work that the community do and within the church, because Jesus constantly tells us to love as we choose, if we want to be loved. Treat others as you want to be treated.
That's right.
And if you sum the whole Bible up in one word, it's love.
That's it.
So it's important to show forth that love. You agree with that, sir?
Oh, 100%. You have to show love and stuff. If that's the foundation of what we do, especially as me as being a Christian. Everything is motivated by the love of the Father first and foremost and everything. But, then I have to love my brothers and my sisters the way I love him.
With me being in prisons, a lot of times people speak of prison religions.
Right.
And a lot of times, man, it's so sad to see people get discouraged because you have young men come in that's wounded, mm-hmm. hurt, might have been a good kid. Mm-hmm. He just stepped off the porch and found himself in prison.
Right.
And you have people that prey on them. And a lot of times the one that's doing the praying, they pray in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even myself, behind bars, I didn't spend a lot of time in church because a lot of times people go to church, unfortunately, to do things that's unbecoming of the Lord. You know what I mean? And that's sad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because a lot of people are not there for the reason that you think there's so many people. Some there for dating, some there for just they looking for some gossip, something juicy. Then you got some who really just genuine, just needing some help. They reaching out to the Lord and say, hey, they beyond what they can do themselves. So they say, let me come here and see if a higher power can help me out.
And even today in the church, me being a child of God, it's sad to say a lot of churches today are not right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The church is here to help the community, not only the people within your congregation. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to help anyone that needs help. But sometimes we as a people are so selfish, but the Bible speaks of these days, so why should we be surprised? You know what I mean?
That's right. Right. You said the word selfish. That is something that the church is really, especially when it comes to denominations. I've always had a problem with the denominations because it's separation.
Yeah.
And that's why. And then one thing about my outreach, when I'm down there, we have people from all kind of different backgrounds, different churches, different walks of life. And so one thing I tell them, I say, out here, guys, there are no political affiliations. There are no denominations. Everybody is a servant. We're on the same page. We're all servants and everything. You might have came up as a bishop. You might be an apostle outside here, but out here, when we're doing the street outreach ministry, you're a servant, just like everybody else.
And even Jesus, he came to be a servant. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He was a servant. Right. The Bible says, in order for you to be the greatest, you must become the least.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You got to be willing. He even came and died and was willing to give himself, humble himself to death.
That's right.
Because he knew the greater cause. You know what I mean? And sometimes we got to realize we may be the only Jesus that a person see.
Yeah, all the time.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, I don't see guys where they would read the Bible to see if I'm going to do it.
Right.
They ain't reading it for them. They want to see is you real.
That's right.
So they read it to know what you should be doing and what you shouldn't do. And by your example, you can, change the world. You know what I mean?
It started out trying to sabotage, but then a lot of times a lot of them try to sabotage, but they wind up getting converted themselves. Mess around and hit the right scriptures and hit the right moment the Holy Ghost hit you and stuff. And you see something real about this thing. Here I'm trying to discredit and trying to make somebody scandalous looking, but here it is, man. I done had a experience and now ain't nobody can tell. I tell people all the time, you can talk about the book, you can argue about the Bible all day, but you can't argue with my testimony. My testimony is something that I lived through, something that I know without a shadow of doubt. So even if I don't know all the scriptures on top of scriptures, I know my life. That's the biggest scripture that we're gonna have anyway. The life that you live in.
The Bible speaks to us that we overcame by the power of the blood and the words of our testimony.
That's right. That's my scripture.
Nobody could tell you what God has done for you.
Nah.
And I ain't ran across a person in the Bible that didn't have a personal encounter with Jesus and remained the same.
That's right.
And
that's where it's supposed to be, and then for the change has got to be for the better. And I sit around a lot of times when I've had people, when doing street outreach ministry, it's rewarding, but it's a very tedious and it's very hard because you got so many different people that's constantly coming up that came from different backgrounds, that had different little traumas, that if gotten out of jail, just out of prison, there's so many different people that come in contact. So you have to have the power of the Holy Spirit to be able to navigate a lot of times through it because just because you're dealing with so many different people. Some people got education, some people don't. So I can't come at one type of way and everything. I know a lot of people go to churches a lot of times. They say, well, if it's a story about something in the Bible, let's say, well, y'all know the story. They start turning to the scriptures that, well, you only got to turn to y'all. We all know the story about such and such, which is not true. A lot of people don't know the story.
That's right.
It's not being taught anymore because they're assuming that everybody know, but that's not the case.
Sometimes the man that's on top of the hill, sometimes when you remain on the top of the hill so long, it's as if you forget what it took to get to the top of the hill.
Exactly.
And you have no compassion for those who are climbing. And that's something that we have to be mindful of, especially spiritually. You agree with that, sir?
Yeah. And I just take the example of just being a weightlifter or something like that. You just can't come in there and just get up on some heavy weight and expect to be able to lift it. It takes some time. It takes some building up.
And even in our weight room, if you are able to do it, if you ain't did it in a while and you jump in there, you're going to be you're going to wish you wouldn't have did it.
Exactly, man. And then the older you get, different stuff don't push at the same time. I mess around and mess my shoulder up and stuff and disrespecting weight. I think I was on about 315. 315, this and this bouncing off my chest and just playing with it and stuff. And then so disrespected and stuff. And I pushed up quicker on one side than the other side, and the weight came down on this side, and since then they ain't been the same and stuff.
Been the same.
Yeah, but the weight part and everything, you can't just get in there. You had this. It takes some time. You know, you gotta know what's what. You know, you gotta know what dumbbell is, what the weights and everything. You gonna look like a dumbbell around there and stuff if you don't know what you're doing.
Okay, Mr. Curtis, we're gonna change directions here. Let's talk about the mental health aspect. You know, can you give us a little background, a little testimony, how that concerns you, sir?
I started back when I was a kid and everything about the middle school. And I remember I used to have a lot of problems when it came to just being depressed. I didn't know that's what it was. I didn't know that's what was going on at the time. But I would constantly feel like, you know, I shouldn't be here. You know, feeling like, you know, the world, if I leave here, then the world, they'll start trying to really appreciate me because I feel like nobody appreciated me, nobody cared. You know, and so I stayed depressed a lot of times. I didn't realize it till one day I was walking, just how depressed I was walking. I was walking in the house, and this is when I was in middle school. And my mom used to have mirrors all on the side of the wall. So when you came in, you could see yourself out the corner. And they used to call me Humpty back in the day. Couldn't never figure out why they would do that and stuff. But it wasn't until this one day I was walking past my mirror, and I saw myself slumped over. So I had my bag on my shoulders, but I was slumped over. And I froze, and I looked, and I was like, this is why they called me Humpty. Because I was bent over, and I had like a little hump in my back because you know, I was leaned over so much and everything. And a lot of that came from stress, a lot of pressure and all that stuff. Being, you know, and I got picked on a lot, being short, dark skinned, and kind of chubby. So, but I didn't realize anything about the mental health until when I got older and stuff. I wrote a lot of poetry, and the poetry dealt with a lot of just depression stuff, you know. And people talking about, well, why do you always draw stuff so dark and everything? Yeah. I say that's who I really am. You know, I show y'all what y'all want. I show you what's on the outside, what's inside. This is what's going on, man. I'm confused. I'm scared.
And you know, looking back, you know, is it something that you feel like was always there, or was there a certain moment in your life that shifted everything? You know,
the shift didn't come if I fast forward to when I was an adult. I used to go through real bad. I tried to commit suicide maybe about 2 or 3 times, and wasn't successful at it and stuff. I guess I'm not gonna leave it there. I wasn't successful, thank the Lord, because I'm here now to be able to, you know, speak on this. And but when it came to the 80s, when I was married before and stuff, and I used to go off and sometimes just could sit in the house and not do anything and stuff, and you know, that's the depression coming in, and I didn't realize that's what it was and stuff. I can sit there and be scared, afraid to do anything because you just can't explain it. It's some things you can't explain. I would just sit there and I'd be so afraid, and I'm saying, why am I so scared to do this? Why am I so afraid to just go get up and everything? Bipolar disorder is something that can really mess your mind up and stuff if you don't really know what's going on, and it wreaks havoc in families and stuff. That's why I had such a big problem in my first marriage. This is my second marriage, but my first marriage, I know my bipolar disorder, it wreaked a lot of havoc in there too.
And you know, a lot of times when we think about a person being, you know, mental illness, you know, with bipolar, depression, and things of that nature, it don't also affect you. It also affect those who love you, because a lot of times you don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of times in our community, we think that's a bad word.
Yeah.
You know, we think that's depression is a bad word. Bipolar is a bad word. You know, having suicidal thoughts are a bad word. So we don't share these things. So we keep them within.
That's right.
And that could be dangerous, correct, sir?
Yes, it is. And a lot of times that's what my poetry, I did a lot of writing and poetry and stuff. So that was my outlet. You know, when I started feeling all lonely and stuff and feeling like, you know, that why am I living? Why am I still alive? You know, I drowned in 5th grade. And for some reason, since that happened, I would always feel like I wasn't supposed to be here and everything, you know. Never tied into that, but, you know, it was just crazy. My life flashed before my eyes, you know, everything changed and everything. I was just like in the 5th grade, but it gave me a different aspect on life and everything.
I tell you what, you know, this ain't it's not a bipolar depression moment, but I tell you what, they stuffed me inside an MRI machine, and
don't talk.
And my life flashed before me. I can tell you that much. I seen everything, childhood, boy. I seen it all. You hear me?
Yes, I do. I've been there and stuff. I was in there one time and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that I was really claustrophobic until I got put into one of those machines, and I felt my pulse start racing and stuff. I felt like I was sweating. I was like, "What's going on?" Then I felt like water was running out of my eyes and stuff. I was crying. I didn't even know I was crying. Tears were just rolling out and stuff, and I was just like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I think I'm claustrophobic." I said, "Y'all gonna get me out of here, man. This thing closing in. It's closing in on me."
And you know, with me being a bigger guy,
yeah, man.
It's
so
a tight fit, so they
yeah.
stuffing you in there. So it's no wiggle room, not only on the sides, but you know your face right up to the top.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, and with me having my spinal surgery, it was critical that I take this because it eventually saved my life.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I'm so grateful. And I remember the first time I told a man, I'm like, listen, man, I'm not going back in there.
Yeah.
He was like, well, sir, I'm like, listen what I'm trying to tell you, man. I am not going back in that machine. You know what I mean? And I thank the Lord for his patience with me because he could have been like, you don't want to go? Okay, that's, you know what I mean? Shout out to, you know, everybody in the medical field, man. Y'all do a great job, man.
Yeah.
I thank the Lord for you, man. You know, I have a different level of respect for those in the medical field. You know what I'm saying? We talk that trash and we get impatient. But when it's your mother or your grandmother or your child or you laying back there on that table, you want all the care in the world.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So shout out to them. You know what I mean? But so let's go back to childhood. Let's talk about your parents.
Right.
Did you feel loved as a child? Was it a loving home, a loving background?
Well, my mom, she, my mom raised like 3 boys, and me, and I got 2 other brothers and stuff, and so I never really had like my dad. It wasn't really, it was early in life and stuff. You know, some decisions got made and stuff, mistakes got made, and here I am.
Yeah. So you the baby.
Yeah.
So you the baby that wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I mean, so what I'm trying to say in so many words, do you feel as though, you know, because my mom, I've always knew that my mom loved me.
Right.
You know, it's like, even though, you know, you grew up at hard times, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in Busby Quarters, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
times were rough, but I always knew that my mom loved me.
Yeah, I get
And,
it.
you know, and through tough times, I knew that I could count on that love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said before, you know, even when I talk to my mom now, I say, well, Mom, we was poor.
Right.
But I didn't know it because of the love that you gave me.
Yeah.
And her response is, we wasn't poor. That's how people lived then. But see, we wasn't rich.
Yeah.
We wasn't middle class. You know what I mean? We were born and raised in Busby Quarters. You know what I mean? You right. And I had a little more than everybody else around me. But that doesn't mean that we wasn't in poverty. You understand what I'm saying? And but the love carried us through to me. You know, did you have that kind of love, or do you think that contributed to the way you felt, sir?
No, I had my mom. She was a very loving person. You know, she had me at an early age. She got pregnant when I was like 14, and so she had me at an early age. But one thing she did, she always went above me on and let me and my brothers know that she loved us. You know, she went out. She was a hardworking woman. You know, our dads wasn't really in our lives and stuff. You know, my mom, she at an early age and stuff, she had, like I said, she was kind of naive a lot of times. So here we go, naive, got the brothers through the wolves out here and looking some sheep, you know, and got the, you know, so I wound up with 2 other brothers. But my mom, love, that's all she did.
Hold on, so you are the oldest?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you said earlier that you was the youngest.
Oh, no.
So you were the oldest,
yes.
And
you
got
2 other brothers.
others.
Yeah, another brother a year and a half behind me, and another he's like about several years.
You know, I don't think people understand the responsibility of the oldest child.
Yes.
Especially the oldest male. It's like you're forever the protector.
Yeah.
You know, over mom.
Yeah.
Over the siblings. And, you know, me, myself, you know, I was a grown man. I run jokers away from there. It was hard for my mom to sustain a relationship because I run them jokers away from there.
I just was telling somebody that yesterday.
You understand what I'm saying?
2 days ago about the same thing. About the wrong one coming to my mama's house, they getting ran off. Yeah, guys used to come and everything, and we used to run them off, especially if I knew they were in the streets and they were doing something they wasn't supposed to. Because I was in the streets, so I knew what was going on. Mama, you know, she'd be home and stuff, and, you know, and I had to come home and tell her about it, and she don't believe in when love get in there. It's hard to believe that your brother the man you love and everything out to mess around. So I had to go around there and say, bro, don't come back. Just don't come back. Man, your mama care about me. I said, I don't care. I said, don't come back. I know what you're doing. Yeah, basically. He knew. Yeah, that's basically, he knew.
Yeah, it's just being the oldest child, and it's almost like you become husband to mom.
Yeah.
Well,
you definitely right ballpark with me then, because
you become husband, you become her, because in the end, when mom, it's a certain bond with the oldest child, because it's things that you remember that they don't. It's times that struggles that mom conversation she had with you. Mm-hmm. Like when my little brothers come through, it's Nikes, it's Jordans, and they don't know nothing about the sandals and the shoes with the scrap across it. No. They never had the experience in that. Mm-mm. There wasn't no buzz recorders. They grew up in a home, a stable home, and all these luxuries. And you know what I'm saying? So it was a different time. I'm like 14, 15 years older than my youngest brother.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that you were put in that dad's position. That's how I was and stuff. Being the oldest, I had to work early, and then and making mama help sure she can pay the bills and everything. Yeah. I didn't understand about bills and all stuff like that. And all I know, I was working and I was just giving mama money, when she needed and stuff. But I had such a great mother. I can't. Don't get me wrong. Now we were poor. I knew what poor looked like because when you go in, everybody got Nike shoes and you got the one with the check on it. You thought was a Nike. Man, I thought I was wearing some Nikes one time, man. Yeah, them hot boxes, what they call them.
Yeah, everybody else run through the hallways and skirt. Yours on skirt.
Mine is, I'm sliding.
Plastic, straight plastic. Yeah. So at an early age, do you believe that the mental illness, you think it's something that's can be from a traumatizing situation, or you think it's something that a person is born with?
Me, I was born with mine. Because most of the time, a lot of times people who have somebody in their family that may have mental illness and stuff, a lot of times you can easily, you may be able to get it too. But my mom, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I really don't talk about it because, had family members, they don't like us talking about stuff. This is the problem when you have stuff to do with like mental illness. People don't like you to talk about it and stuff, because it's a taboo. But especially when you're, big black guy and everything, when it first came out that I was dealing with bipolar disorder, I had to come in grips with it first and everything and say, man, ain't nothing wrong with me. You crazy. I ain't crazy, like this. So, because all I'm thinking about when you come to bipolar disorder or mental illness is just blowing spit, being in white padded rooms and stuff with straitjackets and stuff. So I didn't realize that it was so many degrees when it comes to mental illness. Mm-hmm.
And what is it? What was the situation to where you found out, it had to be, hey, something is wrong. Yeah. Let's go get checked out. When exactly was you clinically diagnosed with bipolar disorder, sir?
I didn't clinically get diagnosed with bipolar disorder until I got arrested. And I got arrested because I was in another whole state of mind. When it's like being in a TV show. I tell people when I'm dealing with bipolar disorder, only way I can describe how you think is when you got a TV remote control in your hand and you keep switching it and sometimes you don't know what's going to be on the next channel. That's how it was with me and the bipolar disorder. I just never knew what I was going to do next.
Right.
And it's a scary feeling when you're out of control like that. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't think, the only thing you just react.
Can you feel it coming on? Is this, now that you're the man that you are now, from dealing with it so many years, can you feel it? Can you tell when it's about to? Okay, walk us through that process, sir.
Majority of the time, I know if I'm getting stressed. One of the biggest things that bring on some of the outbreaks with bipolar disorder, you have the manic, then you have the depressed part. The manic is when you're just unrealistic thoughts, feelings of grandeur, you can get angry over nothing. You're hearing stuff, you're seeing stuff, so I went through that whole spectrum of everything, hearing things and all, and thinking that, that there were other people in the room and stuff and talking to me and all and everything.
So and that's a part of the bipolar. So the bipolar and the depression kind of go hand in hand, correct?
Yeah, it's manic depressive. So you can have extreme high or extreme low. The depressions are low, and the highest the manic part from the bipolar disorder.
So that's why they call it manic
Depressive.
depressive. Okay, so it'll get to the point where you actually hear voices.
You can. It depends how long you've been, I guess, without any medication and stuff like that. Me, before I even knew anything about bipolar disorder, I had been having like little depression, most of the time with that, and it would come on. Nothing can be happening, and you can go through a depression state. And that's the thing that threw me for a loop. I can be just happy-go-lucky like not right now, happy-go-lucky, and then I leave 15, 20 minutes later. I'm feeling like, why am I still alive? I should have died, And it's hard to explain, but it comes on like that. Sometimes you can feel it coming on, but by the time you feel it come on, sometimes it's too late. So you have what they call deterrence. Things when I try to make sure that I don't put myself in too many stressful situations. Certain things. Stress is the biggest thing that brings on a lot of episodes when it comes to depression and it comes to manic.
Are you aware of it to the point to where, let's say you feel it?
Mm-hmm.
What is the trigger point? I mean, what is it to make you say, okay, I feel it coming on, I better do this, I better do that? Is there anything to deflect it, to derail that feeling once it's starting to come, sir?
Derailing it? No, that's why prevention is the biggest thing they push, because by the time you realize you're in it, most of the time you're in it too far. So me, majority of the time, I try to just keep a watch on myself. My biggest thing I know was stress, so I don't allow myself to be put in stressful situations. Everybody gonna have some stress, but I'm talking about me doing ministry, doing outreach. You got all these different stories, people telling you about their heartaches and heartbreaks and stuff. And so you go on for years and years of getting everybody else garbage, and it piles on top of your stuff, So a time comes that, you haven't been dealing with you, and you're dealing with so many other people's problems and everything. It becomes a real big hindrance to you.
And by you being a man of God, having a caring heart, their hurts and pains actually affects you because you care.
And that's a big thing. I would get stressed because of their stress.
Right.
And that's why I had to really start stepping back, because at first I didn't see how I was going to be myself doing this, because I was coming home sometime in tears. My wife knew I can be did outreach. I come home, by then I'm exhausted because I've fought my tears back. I've been strong for someone else who's been weak out there and doing it.
And it's funny, I was so adamant about doing this interview with you because myself, I've talked to a mental health person for maybe about 10 months now. With me having my surgery, first of all, getting out of prison after 18 years, being in prison for 18 years, that's a long time, and it's a cultural shock. It's just a lot of areas, I can't even really remember my first 6 months home. I don't remember nothing. I don't remember what was Christmas. I don't remember things,
Right.
Because of the medication. And my medication is for my nerves, but it's also an antidepressive medication.
Mine as well.
So therefore I remember my doctor saying, well, it'll make you'll feel very nonchalant, things won't matter to you, and it was like that amitriptyline, you know what I'm saying, at first, and that stuff was, my vision, it's like I couldn't comprehend, you know what I'm saying?
It make you real drowsy and sleepy too, yeah.
Yeah, it make me sleepy, I can't remember things, I couldn't remember things, but most of all, I already felt like I couldn't physically do anything.
Right.
I come home, I can't provide for my wife, I can't provide for my family, I have kids, I can't do special things with them, for them. I have a grandson, I can't go and run, jump, and play with him. Right. And on top of that, I can't think, I can't remember. I didn't feel like myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I've never had suicidal thoughts. But a lot of times when I get by myself, when I go to the bathroom, I used to cry, one-on-one. But I would cry because in my mind, when I thought about how hard I fought to get to the point that I was.
Right.
And when I realized how hard I fought, and I'm like, I'm still like this, You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just wasn't myself.
Right.
And this podcast saved me in a lot of ways because it gave me purpose.
Right.
It gave me drive, and I started to feel myself because I was so sure that God told me to do this. And through all of that, I was able to push through that. And counseling does help.
Yes, it does.
Because it's times where I'm a very strong-minded person, but it's times when I talk to the lady throughout the week, or like when I know I got another appointment coming, I would think about the things we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And so just that alone is a help.
Yeah.
Because at least I'm thinking about the positive things,
Mm-hmm.
the goals she set forth. They give you goals. Okay, this is the goal you want to meet. You want to meet this goal. You want to meet that goal.
Right.
You want to try to, but I was telling her, ma'am, and she told me, there is a form of depression. You are in a depressive state.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like I don't have any feelings. Like, as much as I love, is also an emptiness.
Right.
Are all of those signs, sir?
Yeah, that's definitely depression and stuff. Like I said, when I had severe depression and I was going through some things, I could sit in the house and sit in one spot the whole day and just stare at the wall. And I was just afraid to do anything because and it's hard to explain. I just was afraid to do anything. So I just sat there and feel like, I was going to fail if I did anything. I mean, even getting to go to the bathroom, I was like saying I didn't want to move in just to go to bed and stuff. I mean, depression, when it hits me really hard and everything. And it's majority of the time it comes after I've had a manic episode. And my manic episodes are just off the chains and everything. I can just recall once early in my life when the first time I had my real outbreak with bipolar disorder is the manic. And we went through a bad divorce, hadn't lost my job, had some other things going on, but then I wasn't sleeping. And so, but with the things going on, the stressful thing, then not sleeping, that brings on also, it can bring on an episode, bring on depression, or it can bring on a manic episode and stuff.
So if someone say, hey man, everybody go through problems, man. You lose your job or whatever, man, go get another job, whatever. See, people who don't deal with the problem, that's not the mental illness part of it, they just think, well, hard times, he's just using that as an excuse.
Right.
But tell me, what is the greatest misconception about those type of thinking?
Yeah. The thing about it, sometimes you don't have triggers. With depression, most of the time when people have depression, it's because of, say, somebody done passed or say done lost something that's dear to them and stuff. So then, you have that happen and stuff. But when you don't have, I lost my train of thought that quick. Jumped on something else.
You yourself, you just lost a family member, correct, sir?
Yeah, my mom back in June.
And you also recently lost someone else, correct?
Yeah, my youngest sister just last month.
Okay, so with that being said, you being aware of your past mindset, you being aware of the issue that you have, when you receive that information, of course it hurts anyone. Mm-hmm. That's a family member, that's mom, that's sister. Mm-hmm. What do you do to protect yourself, sir?
Just pay attention to what's going on. Like I said, when I went through my last episode here, it's because I had a lot of stuff going on. I ran for city councilman and had lost for city councilman. The city stopped me from doing my outreach that was my purpose. I had outreach. He was down behind the courthouse in a parking lot, and we would meet there every Thursday. And sometimes we can have 150 people there easy feeding, and then have at least 30 people that's helping doing the feeding and stuff. So it was successful for a while. I mean, it was very successful. Very successful.
And it seems like, to me, talking to you, it seems like keeping your mind occupied.
Yeah.
Is a way to deflect the thoughts, because I remember the therapist, she used to always talk to me about my thoughts. Mm-hmm. Don't think about it. Try not to think about it. But, me, when it comes to my mind, is my physical ability. So every time it's something that I want to do, I can't help but understand that, hey,
right.
Sometimes I watch my 3-4-year-old nephew walk up and down the steps with a bag in his hand. I'm like, hey, you're gonna fall. But he's not gonna fall. I'm the one that'll fall. So I'm thinking if I can't do it, he can't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something. So, and when you feel like they took that away from you, it caused you to go in a backwards mood state, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you talking about
the outreach ministry when they stop you from having the ministry?
Purpose. When you said this right here's your purpose, the outreach, and I feel that it's my purpose and everything. If I can backtrack a little bit, when I went through my first major episode, I lost my job. Like I said, I'd been through marriage, a bad marriage and stuff, just a divorce. Picked up drinking. So I was drinking like, that naughty head, going through a bottle or two, on the weekends and stuff. So I didn't realize that what was going on about, that's another thing you start doing. You want to drink. You start wanting to engage in real promiscuous sex and stuff like that. It's just you get so reckless and everything. You don't think straight when it comes to when you're in the manic episode of it.
Mm-hmm.
The depression part of it, it's very hard and everything because, like I said, I've had points when I just can't do anything. I can't think straight, and lose trains of thought. So and it's easy sometimes, even now and everything. Sometimes when I had a real bad major episode with my outbreak with my bipolar disorder back about a year and a half ago, and it caused me to get incarcerated and stuff. I found myself thinking I was somebody totally else. My name Curtis Jones. I thought my name was Ramses Judah Jones, and start coming up with these different people and stuff that you think you are, but you're not.
Sir, I mean, how would you feel about walking us through that last episode from that morning, from when you woke up until the point where you were arrested? Would you mind walking us through that, letting us get a sense of why, when, where, and what should we do?
Well, walking through when it came with me, it was no particular. I had several things going on and everything. This right here, like I said, from the first time, I tell you the first time, because I had several things going on, and then divorce is hard itself. I'm going through that. That's the biggest part. And then after that, we picked up drinking, thinking that's going to help. Then, you find yourself thinking that you're going to find some more relief in the arms of somebody else and everything. So you find yourself trying to find help in this bed and that bed, and you find yourself getting deeper and deeper into issues. So me at one time, not me bragging, I was bothering like about 5 females at like one time. It's hard enough to just juggle one female, but you trying to do 5, man. So that stress, that was stress on top of stress right there. Then I started getting caught. So when you still getting, so I started getting caught, got crossed up a few times, saying the wrong names.
So you wasn't even good at it, huh?
No, man, I was so. I had just run my mouth to the wrong people and stuff, how it is, and then people gonna run their mouth, and so it's back to your front door.
Let me ask you something. What was your spiritual state at this time, sir?
I was very spiritual. A lot of times when you go into like the episodes, you get real spiritual. You start seeing yourself in the Bible as Bible. I found myself as being like different characters in the Bible and stuff. One time when I got so out of myself, I thought I was Jesus. And was saying that and everything, so it's hard to explain because your mind is everywhere. You don't have any, there's no straight line.
No structure. Okay, so for 23, 24 years, you didn't have another panic episode. So walk us through the events as you were told that day. So you say you left the house, and what kind of state were you in, and what happened that caused you to be incarcerated, sir?
Well, before I left the house, I have to say I went to Atlanta. I was up in Atlanta a few days with my kids. They knew that I wasn't myself. They saw me say stuff that was unrealistic, but then I said a lot of stuff that made a lot of sense. So she said, Daddy, we couldn't really tell until you start saying some, kind of really out there stuff and everything, and then we kind of something might be wrong. So we called Mom. They called my wife, Mom. They called up and stuff, and she said, your daddy have his medication. And I said, that was another thing. I stopped taking medication because I got paranoid, thinking my medication was poison. And so that didn't help me because then I went on all out manic episode and everything because I didn't have nothing to kind of put me in check and have any medication in me and stuff. But I felt that I still was okay without the medication. I found out that I wasn't, because when I got back, that's when I told you, I said I had the episode when I just felt like I just wanted to go get a chicken fajita about 3 a.m. in the morning, but not putting no clothes on. So, it didn't bother me doing it and everything. So I walked down there. Somebody talking about, at what point did you think something was crazy about it? I said I didn't. That's why I walked down with the BB gun and everything, and no clothes on. I didn't even think about none of that.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you left your house butt naked.
Yeah.
And you walked to the store.
Yeah.
To get a chicken fajita.
That was my intention, 7-Eleven.
Okay, about how far did you have to walk, sir?
It's about a good mile. Maybe a mile, maybe 3/4 a mile.
So you made it all the way to the store butt naked.
Yeah.
Holding a BB gun and no one noticed anything.
If they did, they didn't say nothing. But nobody said it. But it didn't. It wasn't until I got in the store and I heard screaming started. I guess because me coming in naked, and then I came and eventually I got on camera and stuff. I threw the gun down and stuff because the guy was he was interviewing me, really interviewing about what was going on. I can't tell you what was being said other than what you saw on camera. He recorded me saying some stuff and everything while I was incoherent. I want to say.
Right. And so all of this you telling me that you know it because you seen this back on film, correct, sir?
Yeah, mostly it just came from what people told me. I couldn't tell you anything else. I say 95% of the stuff that happened, I can't remember it. Right. That's how bad I see. But it depends on the level of your episode. Like my manic episode, it was a major. It was called major and everything because I went all out. Thinking I was somebody else, to hearing the voices, to not sleep, thinking that's another thing. You don't think you need sleep, and that's another thing that brings on the illness. But marital problems help usually bring it on. Just some type of thing that's really, really stressful. Not just no regular stressful things that go through the day. I had a hard day. Some real stressful stuff and everything. Like I had, like you losing a marriage or something like that.
So let me ask you a question. So by this being your first manic attack while you were married, how did your wife? What kind of strain did this episode put on your marriage, sir?
It gave her a new outlook on it. She said she heard me say something before about it, but she never had seen me in any manic episode. And she said, "My God," she said, "I didn't know this how it is. I didn't know that you can get like this. And this is actually one time I never call out a name, but I call out a name. She said when he did that, she said I knew something was wrong, and then so me getting arrested too. That was one of the biggest things. And I called her from the police station and stuff, and was going off on her, but kind of find out I had the wrong phone number. So, so I dialed somebody and gave them the business.
Hey, you know how they say back in the days you get one free phone call.
Yeah,
you wasted your free phone.
Everything, giving somebody else the business, and it wasn't even their business.
I bet that's a phone call they remember.
Yeah, they do and everything.
Yeah. I tell you what. Ooh. But so after you in one of these episodes, like at what point? I mean, what causes you to come out of it? Like, at what state do you realize, even though you may not remember what happened, but at what point do you come out of it and you're quote unquote normal again?
It wasn't until I started taking my medication that I really started balancing me out. Because the whole time I still was thinking I was, Ramsey's. I was thinking, and until they got me back in the right doses. Because they started me when I take like 200 milligrams or whatever I take. And when I first got in there and they found out that I did have bipolar disorder, my wife had some days that went by and they found, well, actually not days, that later that morning. Because my wife, she didn't know I hadn't walked off from the house in the middle of the night. All she saw were my clothes I had on, she said, before I left. And she said, she put an APB out on me. So she said, about the police, she said, that my husband is missing. She said, and you may know it's him because I don't think he has any clothes on because I found all the clothes right here on the back of the chair right here that he had on.
When they show all the movies about the rapster.
Yeah.
You know, all the clothes be left there.
And my clothes are by itself when I'm gone.
Lord, my husband don't mean ratchet. Lord, why you left me? Oh, yeah, that's so.
Yeah, but she knew something was wrong because I was imagining that the house was bugged. You know, that's one thing, you preoccupied with government stuff, thinking the house was bugged. You know, thought people would follow me and all, thinking that people done came in the neighborhood building houses and adding stuff on the houses because they were trying to spy on us and all. So this is after I came back from Atlanta. This is right before I got locked up.
So she witnessed all of these. So she knew
she got
that
a chance,
something wasn't right.
Yeah.
So and you know, and that's very good that for her to stand by you through this situation.
Yeah,
you know, I commend her and I respect her for that. You know, like you say, there's something. I mean, that's the talk of the town.
Yeah.
You know, your husband butt naked at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's seeing all the chicken fajita, huh?
Yeah, everything they can see. My wife talking about something. Anybody that look at you, I said, I don't know. I said I was too much and too out of there to know what was going on.
You don't remember nothing.
But I didn't. But I didn't care also because, like I said, it was just the guy Ramses. You know, he just one of them didn't care. No nonsense. Just
so like right now, how you can say his name? What his name was?
Ramses.
Ramsey. Okay, so
I get that from because I did a Ancestry, you know, the Ancestry.com type of thing. I did one of those, but this one's supposed to be like that goes back to like 50 generations, something like that. Goes back and everything. But one of them was in there. Ramses III was supposed to be one that was in my bloodline somewhere in there. So I got that from there and everything, talking about I want to pick the surname back up of Ramses and carry it on as the Pharaoh.
Okay.
Yeah, the Pharaoh, that's neither here nor there, but that's
Hey man. Hey, that thing, you know what I mean? I mean, so when they pick up, so the person, like the Ramsey fella, he picks up his own personality. He's his own, and he's consistently the same person.
Yeah.
So it's like a split personality, kind of like a schizophrenia type thing, but that person has his own characteristics, correct?
Yeah. He was the one I got preoccupied before. It was like I was into like the first time was a lot of martial arts movies, a lot of stuff that had like a lot of action to it. So I was in Mortal Kombat. I was Liu Kang, and I had my Liu Kang powers. And
get over here!
I had Blade. You know, everything was mixed up and stuff. And you know, I felt like I couldn't be touched. Yeah. That's the first time, you know. But the second time, Ramses. But it's always something that I guess I've come across that came in contact with it that I usually just pick up the persona and I go on with that stuff into another whole level.
And that's what I pick up from me sitting here. It appears that like things that's already within the scope of your imagination or your studies or your life, it just enhances it.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's
so it's not realistic. Yeah, to the point it's not realistic. But to you, that's the thing. To you, everything is normal. That's the thing. When people tell me, you was doing, you saying that, I kind of laugh along, but I'm laughing at something that I don't really know. You understand? Because I don't remember me doing anything. You know, even my daughters, my wife, she said, all I know, at first when I got incarcerated, I thought that she was part of this conspiracy to get me locked up. That's the other thing. Conspiracy was the mayor and the city that was the reason I lost my ministry, because of the conspiracy. It was just like, it was like making my own movie, my own mental movie and stuff, but nothing was real, you know, based on realistic stuff. Yeah. It was just stuff I came in contact with. I didn't realize that was going on.
Right. I mean, that's something, you know, Mr. Curtis, you know, I'm glad that you have since been properly medicated. So let's talk about the importance of...
Well, the importance of medication is the difference between y'all seeing me acting like this to me thinking that I'm some kind of Pharaoh or something around here, thinking that I'm some kind of DE agent, because I was some of everybody, you know. From any moment and stuff, it's like as I say, it's like switching the channel from any moment to the next moment. I'm in that channel, but whatever it is, I'm the star of what's going on.
You Denzel on every channel.
Yes, sir.
We got Equalizer. We got Training Day. We everything. We everywhere.
Everything and stuff.
Bug Bunny. Okay, so it is very important to be medicated properly. Yeah. So what about the mothers out there that may see tendencies in their children? What are some of the tendencies that they may look and they could see to say, well, hey, I need to set my pride aside and go get my son or my daughter checked?
Yeah. The biggest thing with it, you have to get some information. You have to be informed about bipolar disorder because it's so it's miscued so much different information, misinformation that I said that's out there, that if you're not careful, you get caught up in that hype there and everything. But you have to make sure that you're properly diagnosed. But once you get the diagnosis, then you can go from the medication part. But just knowing it without being medicated, it's something totally that you're gonna have a problem if you just know and you don't have any medication. But it does balance me back out. I can tell the difference. My wife will tell you the difference too. She said, I know the difference between being on your medication and being off it.
Okay, Mr. Curtis, tell me some of the most proudest moments of your life, sir.
Proudest moment? When I really got off got my outreach started up, Streets of Talking, and my marriage, my wife, my second marriage here. One of the proudest things right there, I could say right now.
Okay. Who was some of the most biggest influences in your life?
My mom. I guess she was the biggest one. She's the one who taught us a lot, right from wrong. She taught us about just life period, how to cook, clean, wash clothes, all the stuff that we need to know. She taught us how to do that. So, Mom, I learned the most from her, and of course, Jesus. That's a given right there.
Amen.
That's a given. But Mom, she did most of the hands-on everything when it came to give me an understanding about life. And
what's your most fondest childhood memory, sir?
Oof. Man, fondest childhood memories. I don't know. Circus World. I went to Circus World and stuff when Circus World was still in. That was one of the funnest things I remember, going in and having fun and stuff. Because before that, I had never been on like any theme parks or did anything like that and stuff. It was like I think it was like middle school, something there. I think I had wound up going, but that was one of the high points and everything. We going to Circus World.
Walk me through your emotional state when you finally found out you was going to be a father for the first time.
Well, the first time I didn't know because until the baby was born, and then but once I found out, yeah, I was happy, and she's been one of the biggest joys in my life too. My oldest girl, Tiara.
What's your relationship with your siblings?
We're not really close, but we communicate. So I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, sometimes when you're the big brother, you're the bad guy because you kind of the disciplinary. You kind of extension of mom and dad.
Yeah.
So you kind of.
So, I'm on two sides. I got by my father, I've got three sisters and a brother. Then my mom, I had two other brothers. But our families was pretty much kind of separated and stuff because my mom and my dad, they never were together. This is high school stuff happening, and that's what happened.
What was your childhood nickname?
One of them was Herbie.
Herbie, why Herbie?
Herbie, because I walked with a slump. I used to walk slump. I didn't know I was walking with my shoulders forward, and so I walked with a hump. So they was calling me Herbie the Humpty. Humpty, and they called me Herbie because Herbie the Love Bug. It was a duck car called Herbie the Love Bug back in the day and stuff. So they used to call me that, and then plus my dad named Herbert, so they would call me that. But Humpty was the name and everything because I was always with my little shoulders over. So I think that stuck with me for a while until I got high school and I started putting my own persona together and me recreating myself.
When you think about your marriage, sir, what are some of the greatest qualities that you display?
Communication and love. I love my wife like she ain't never. I told her when I asked her to marry me, I was like, I'm not a rich man. I don't have a lot of stuff. But I say I have a love that will love you beyond the stars and everything. I will love you more than anything. I say anybody who ever loved you and stuff, if anybody come ask you about what love look like, love you not like the soap operas, but I'm talking about real life love, you gonna have that.
All right, say that last part one more time.
What, talking about my wife and everything?
Yeah, about the love. You say you tell her you gonna love her like nobody else ever loved her.
I told her based on that stuff, hey, I don't have money, I don't have all these things, but I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you before and stuff. Not the soap opera type love. I'm talking about the real love that people gonna say, wow, I want something like that.
You ain't got that copyrighted. I can use that.
You can use it, man. You can use it.
All right, I'm gonna use that one now. Okay, I tell you what, sir. And when you think about love, if you had to describe love in one word, what would it be?
One word. Love can love define itself?
Think about love as love, huh? That's right. You know what I mean? So, Mr. Curtis, tell my audience the first time you ever met me, sir. Do you remember?
So it's been about over a month or so ago. No, it's been a few months now.
Yeah, maybe about 3 months ago.
About 3 months ago and stuff. You came to our church and stuff, and you were recording something for our service there.
Okay, and what were your thoughts of me, sir?
I was impressed. I was really impressed and stuff. The way you carry yourself, the way you had all your equipment set up. It's like, wow, brother got some tight work going on and stuff. And then I saw how he had it's just put together and came together. I was like, wow, I was impressed. So I say.
And how have your opinion of me changed since that moment?
Nah, man, I went from impressed to like greatly impressed. Like, wow, I'm just like in awe because it's just coming here and sitting down with you and watching how professional you are and all stuff. I'm in awe. I don't have a lot of people that I know who do this kind of stuff.
Right.
And so when I find somebody who's doing something that I know that's worthwhile, I try to encourage them and stuff, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's a purpose behind it, and it's helping. It's
Thank
helping.
you, sir. Thank you. So I tell you what, this is a segment we call Fill in the Blank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you some questions. You ask them quickly, precisely, and the first thing come to mind. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
All righty. I always wanted to.
I always wanted to be in love.
I love when someone
tells me that they see Jesus in me.
If I had to do it all over again, I would.
If I had to remarry my wife again, I would. And I plan on doing it.
My biggest regret in life is
not getting more information about my mental illness sooner.
My favorite holiday is
I don't have a favorite holiday. I know most people say Christmas, and I know holiday. But I would say Valentine's Day because I got married on Valentine's Day.
Amen. It aggravates me when people
just lie when they ain't gotta lie. Just making up stuff, lies and everything. You ain't gotta
lie for the fun of it.
Yeah, that's for the fun of it because they can just to see.
That's what I say, for the fun of it. Okay. If I was God, the first thing I would do is
Boy, I ain't never thought about that one. If I was God and everything, first I would do, love. I'm all about love and everything. And I'll just, like a reset button with love. I make sure that, that this time I go around, well, that's what God doing already. So anyway, this go around, it's going to be different.
Yes, sir. My childhood crush was?
A girl named Eleanor. She was mixed and everything. She was my child. She was my pride and joy until the day we was like in I think second grade. The day I saw her eat a booger, man, that just threw me.
Oh Lord!
She went from being my childhood crush to just ugh.
Every time you see that booger, huh?
I said, booger real slow and everything. She didn't think about a saw. But she was still my first crush. She was the one I first gave a peck on the lips and wondered why it tasted salty. But that's what it was because she ate her boogers. But that's TMI, I know.
If I could travel anywhere in the world, it would be
Egypt.
My favorite movie is
The Matrix.
If I could have dinner with anyone in the world, it would be
I think it'd be Barack Obama. Him sit down, he seemed cool. We sit down and chop it up.
If I could go back to any age, it would be
I guess around about 15.
When I meet someone, the first thing I notice is
eye contact, I guess.
If I could ask God one question, it would be,
am I in?
Growing up, my favorite cartoon was
Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny, Laffy Duck, all of them and everything. It was,
you got to pick one.
I picked one. Oh, man. My favorite was Thunder the Barbarian.
Thunder the Barbarian. Yeah. Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam?
Yosemite Sam.
Bugs Bunny or Pink Panther?
Definitely Bugs.
Superman or Batman?
Batman.
John Wick or Jack Reacher?
John Wick.
Wolverine or Blade?
Blade.
Martin or Fresh Prince?
Martin.
Good Times or What's Happening?
Good Times.
The Cosby Show or House of Pain?
Cosby Show.
The Jeffersons or Sanford and Son?
That's also Sanford and Son.
Waiting to Excel or Soul Food?
Waiting to Exhale.
Set It Off or New Jack City?
New Jack City.
The Five Heartbeats or Dream Girls?
5 Heartbeats.
Nutty Professor or Big Mama's House?
Big Mama's House.
Yeah, Neil Long, huh?
Okay.
The Love of Basketball or Poetic Justice?
Love and Basketball. That's my favorite.
Barbershop or Drumline?
Barbershop.
Chris Tucker or Day Day?
Chris Tucker.
Friday or Friday After Next?
Friday.
Richard Pryor or Red Fox?
Richard Pryor.
David Chappelle or Chris Rock?
Dave Chappelle.
Steve Harvey or Cedric the Entertainer?
Steve Harvey.
Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali?
Mike Tyson.
Before you can get it out. Floyd Mayweather or Sugar Ray Leonard?
Floyd Mayweather.
Marvin Hagler or Terrence Crawford?
I go with Hagler.
Dante Culpepper or Donovan McNabb?
Dante.
Charlie Ward or Tim Tebow?
Charlie Ward.
Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa?
Tua Tiger.
Won't with you all the way on them there now. Football or basketball?
Me, basketball. I love football, but basketball, it edges it out a little bit. Because I just love playing ball myself.
Beef or pork?
Beef.
Shrimps or crabs?
Shrimp.
Turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Collard greens or mustard greens?
Collards.
Banana pudding or peach cobbler?
Banana pudding.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, this is the last segment, sir.
Yeah.
Where you, Mr. Curtis Jones, gets to ask me, William Robinson, anything.
Well, how was your childhood?
My childhood was good. I get, like I say, I was loved.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I knew that I was loved. I had a little more than, everyone around me. I didn't realize we was poor because of the love. Being the oldest child, I learned a lot of responsibilities at an early age. Things that I carry on today.
Mm-hmm.
I always went to the watermelon field, like you say, and it was always in me to want to help mom.
Yeah.
Mom, look what I made, mom. But you know what's crazy?
What's that?
And I didn't have to do it. If I went to the watermelon field and I made $30, and my mama asked me just proud of me, like, how much money you made?
Mm-hmm.
I would say 20. It was smile.
Yeah.
It was in me. I mean, she didn't want it. I used to try to give her, and she wouldn't take it. She'd be like, no, son, I want you to keep it. You know what I mean?
Right,
You were,
right.
you know what I mean? But I was like, no, mom, I want you to have it. I want you to have it. But why was it in me to withhold? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, it was mine. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
my childhood was good.
That's good. That's good. So you think you had a lot to play in about your? I mean, I mean, I know you had you're incarcerated for 18 years, right?
Yes, sir.
So you thinking it had? I mean, anything that you learned from a child and everything, did it pour over into your adulthood and stuff?
Yes, I think that we all are products of our environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always been an aggressive person. And I think being the oldest, it causes us to be a little more protective.
Yeah.
You know, so, we got to be the front runner sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've always been kind of aggressive person. Like I say, I grew up in Busby Quarters. You know, if you from Marion County, you know what Busby Quarters was. Yeah. So the things I saw, the things I went through, you fight. That was a way of,
that's it.
And even like with just a lot of things in my life, I remember looking in the mirror and asking God, why am I like this? How I get like this? You know what I'm saying? The anger, where is it coming from?
Yeah.
And he went to show me that my life was violent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I used to fight dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The crude mind you have to do that. You know what I mean? And the music that we listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I grew up in the 2 Live Crew, the Trick Daddy.
Yeah.
The JT Money. You treat a woman like this and all this. So you grew up in these things, and I became one of those people because I used to do music. And so it was a lifestyle. A lot of that, but the good side of me, my baby brother, father, raised me majority of my life.
Right.
And he was a very loving man. He was a humble man.
Mm-hmm.
He would do a lot of special things for my mom. So I witnessed that. And I carried that over. The side of me that's like the surprise and, and just do special things out the blue. I got a lot of that from him.
Right.
But I also got a lot of, he was not a man that argued, and discipline like that. He would shut down.
Right. Gotcha.
He would turn into the invisible man, as I learned.
Oh, wow.
So it's like he's there, but he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
My mom might bring him his plate, and he'll just sit there. It's like she's not standing there with his plate and just go fix him another one. And these are things I saw, but it taught me, hey, you don't have to, in my adulthood, my ignorant state, boy, that's how it was the mental.
Right.
I understood the mental abuse. Mm-hmm. And so I adopted the mental abuse. You understand what I'm saying? An abuser is not always physical.
Yeah.
But the mental part of it. So I would say yes, sir.
Well, last question is, 5 years from now, what do you see yourself doing? Where are you trying to ultimately be at with your podcast? 5 years from now, what do you think you'll be doing? Or your goal?
Well, my goal, right now, I just I ride this train. Like I say, I can't do much physically,
right?
And there are things that I would like to do and to carry on this podcast because there's a lot of things that God showed me, but I'm not physically able.
Right.
To do certain things, I can only stand for so long, I have to be cautious about falling because my balance is not the best.
Okay.
But I would like to have a studio.
Okay.
I would like to do short films. I'm already into the short skits and everything of that nature as I share with you. And maybe we can get some film, and talk about the issues in our community. Maybe we can get together and do a skit on bipolar and depression.
Yes.
To bring more awareness to our community. So sometimes we see ourselves in others. So when they watch the film, it's like a second chance.
Right.
At an opportunity to get it correct. Mm-hmm. So when you go through that or when you see the signs and identify, you'll be able to address it appropriately. You know what I mean?
Amen. Well, that's it, man. Just thank you for your time mostly and everything. Thank you for the interview.
Okay.
And this is definitely time well spent right here.
And I also want to talk about some things. We have some things I want you to open that up right there. I met this young man a few months back at Dr. Darrell Talbot, his church, and I was there doing some filming, and they played a song. This man have a very, very nice song, and I want y'all to listen to this song a little bit as he look into the camera and give his final thoughts. So I want you to hit play. We're going to let it go for about 20, 30 seconds, And I want you to look into this camera and tell my audience your final thoughts. Give them your contact information. How can they reach you for your outreach? And give them any inspiration you want to give to the world. Anybody that you think going through and suffering with bipolar depression, encourage them in ways, any kind of way you can, sir. So you can go ahead and play the song and look into this camera right here, sir.
Okay.
Lord, as I look around and I see all this death.
You know what I'm saying? This Curtis Jones, the prophet, y'all. Time is winding down. I want y'all to show us some love, you know what I mean? Y'all check this out right here. Oh, yeah. Kind of make me want to jump back into the Big Pete days. I might want to spin a little bit over the top of this thing.
All right, I hear remix.
Okay. Time is winding down.
Time is almost gone. Time to change your life. Jesus soon to come. Sitting here playing with my pen, reminiscing about all the times I used to sin, all the lies I used to tell all the pretty girls, made them feel like queens and promised them the world. All I used to want was one little thing. Then Jesus came along and everything changed.
Yeah, they keep playing, so I want you to look into this camera right here over my shoulder and give your final thoughts, sir.
Once again, y'all have been tuned in with Curtis, the Prophet Jones. My phone number is 352-512-3693, and that's 352-512-3693. That's Curtis, the Prophet Jones. Not only do I do street outreach ministry, I also sing and do gospel and gospel rap. And actually, this song right here playing is one of my songs from one of my albums. If you want to get in contact with me about some of the outreach that we do in the city, they'll have a mobile outreach. We don't just do it in one spot. We go to different places where it's needed at. So they got my phone number at the beginning. If you have any places that you like to come, I can come perform for you. We can actually come bring our outreach, so we can just do all our outreach. So, but if you get a chance, give me a call. If I had to leave anything, which is just saying, just stay true to you. Stay true to you. No matter what people come and try to tell you, the naysayers tell you that they think you this, you think you that. Just stay true to who you are, and make sure you make the most of this life you got that you only have one of.
Amen
God
to
bless
that.
you. God bless me.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to check out Mr. Curtis. You know what I mean? But as y'all already know, this is your host once again, William Robinson, coming at you live today from the studios of TLC, Talk, Love, and Communication. We want to thank my special guest, Mr. Curtis, the Prophet Jones, for joining us, giving us some insight and wisdom on bipolar and depression. We only got one life to live, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a whole lot easier with love and communication. You can donate to this podcast by Cash App. Anybody love you, PayPal, Robinson74William@gmail.com. Zelle is 352-209-3306. And remember, if no one told you they love you today, William Robinson loves you.